So, artificial intelligence has been used for the past few decades to create legal briefs, to manage medical records, and predict weather. If you have used your face to unlock your phone or engaged with a chatbot or asked Alexa or Siri to turn on the lights in your home, then you've used AI. Artificial intelligence is not new, but what is new are the tools. And that is what we're going to cover today. We are going to cover 5 things you can do with artificial intelligence, 5 new things. We are going to show you how you can create those assets and media in minutes. And we're going to speak about using AI to flip the classroom. So here you go. Here are the new things you can do with AI. You can use AI to present slides, to write code and solve problems. You can use AI to translate into different languages, or it can be your voice. It can help narrate audio. And you can use AI to produce videos. Let's start with how you can use artificial intelligence to present slides. Have you ever had to create an entire presentation, but only had an outline or notes? Well, there's an AI tool that can help you.
So I'm going to show you something called slidesai.io, and this is what it looks like. It's actually not a separate software. As you can see, I just installed it as an extension in Chrome, and I'm using Google Slides when I open up this extension in Google Slides, and it gives me a little prompt. And what I've done beforehand is I had this script that I'm just going to copy and paste into this prompt. I'm going to tell it that I want an educational slide, maybe instead of 10 slides, I want it to be in English. Oh, and they have themes. I'm going to choose a theme. And right after I select the theme that I want it to look like, it right away populates for me the slides with words, and not just words, but graphics that match each of my slides. And you can see in the upper right-hand corner that I'm searching for graphics to replace the one it chose, because maybe I want PPE to talk about gloves and tools. And if there's something that I don't like, I can edit it just like you normally do in a slide.
So slidesai.io, you can just enter text and Slides AI will create an entire presentation with original graphics for you. One of my biggest fears is actually waking up and not being prepared for a presentation, not even having the notes ready.
So if you had a topic and you had to present that day on a training that you weren't prepared for, go to Tome. So Tome looks like this. It's a basic website. You don't need any special tools. You basically just go and create something new and you give it a topic. So let's just say I'm going to give it a topic called Artificial Intelligence for Risk Management. Literally about 5 words, Artificial Intelligence for Risk Management. And you can see it's creating a presentation for me. It's creating an outline. It's populating it with words just based on my short set of words, creating not just a presentation, but you can see it starting to add graphics. And what's different about Tome is it's creating it's creating generative artificial intelligence graphics. So this is original art. It's using something called DALL-E that based on your words, it's gathering and synthesizing images and creating new things that match your slides.
So that's Tome. You can create a presentation by just entering one sentence, and an AI like Tome will create an outline, text, and original images and artwork. So AI can help you with presentations, and there are actually many, many tools that can help you. So other tools include Beautiful AI. So Slides AI, Tome, and Beautiful AI can help you present. Artificial intelligence is known these days to help you write and code and solve problems. ChatGPT is probably the most well-known of them so far because it provided one of the best and most simplest responses to pretty complex questions. It can answer questions, but it also can create scenarios or writing prompts or even playwrights. Sometimes you just need a tool that writes for you as quickly as possible.
So in this example, I'm going to show you that you can create a script out of it for an entire video. So I'm writing in the prompt, write a script for a 10-minute video about introduction to sexual harassment in California. And you see how quickly it's creating this script. And not only did it write me a script for this 10-minute video about the topic I wanted it to write about, it gave me a shot list. So between the narrations, it told me what kind of images I needed to take in the real world so I can match it up with the script.
So that's an example of ChatGPT. You can write your video requirements, and ChatGPT will create a script with narration and shot lists. It's pretty cool. So what I just shared with you is a simple prompt. Prompt engineering actually is a pretty widely growing kind of a position out there in the world of AI. And you can write prompts in different ways. You can write it, and all prompts are really is just a way to pattern your request so that it provides you information in a certain way. So you can write in a specific tone using AI. You can consult with it as if it was a professional, and you can use it to explain things in a very simplified manner. So, for example, in a tone, if I can ask it to write a document in the tone of somebody, write an email, for example, in the tone of my mother, because so that I can be nicer and I can have like kinder things to say. Or you can use it to consult. You can say, criticize this document as if you were somebody. So, for example, criticize this policy as if you were a lawyer so that we can find all those caveats and those little nooks and crannies that we need to figure out together. Or you can ask it to explain. You can say, explain to me a topic. Explain to me a topic such as photosynthesis, as if I was in 10th grade, so that I can learn something new. And 10th grade is about the level of understanding I have when learning something new. So those are examples of prompts. And you can also create scripts.
Scripts are certainly one thing that you can create, but not only that, you can actually take those scripts, whether you generated it or if ChatGPT generated it, and it can translate it for you. So check out this example where I've taken the script that it gave me, and now I'm telling it, translate this script. I didn't even copy and paste it again. I just said, translate the script into Vietnamese. And do you see how it not only is translating it, but it's also adding those marks above and symbols above the letters? Well, I told it, well, hold on a second. Why don't you translate it into Mandarin? And it not only remembered the script beforehand, but it started to rewrite it with the special characters that you find in Chinese writing.
So translations using AI is actually not only easy, but it's pretty good. If you would to ask me about 2 years ago when I started doing this with AI, I would say, oh, it's okay, but it was about 95% accurate. But these days, it's so accurate that even native speakers would find it hard to find issues. So, paste a script or any document information, choose a language, and an AI like ChatGPT can translate your words. But artificial intelligence is much more than just ChatGPT. While ChatGPT is a popular choice, it's not the only tool out there. You have alternatives like Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, Perplexity, and Claude that each offer different capabilities. I particularly like Claude because with Claude, it actually gives you references from where it pulls its information, and you can actually create applications from it. You can create apps and games from it. But what if the information you need is not on a web page? Sometimes we need to extract lessons and plans out of electronic books or articles. Notebook LM is a tool that can read documents and create media out of it. So all you have to do in Notebook LM is just click on the upload sources link, and it'll review your PDF or your Word document, and it'll summarize it. And you can actually start to ask it questions. You can ask, for example, in this example where I uploaded a document about ethical reasoning, I asked, based on what was in it, are men or women likely to engage in higher level moral reasoning? And it read the entire document in like a couple of seconds, and then it summarized it for me. And this document was about a 300-page book. So it's very, very quick to analyze as if it was a person who you were trying to get a book report out of. Well, what if you didn't have time to ask questions? Notebook LM automatically creates a podcast summarizing your document, which you can listen to in a car, at the gym, or during boring meetings.
All right. Welcome to your personalized deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to be talking about what shapes ethical leadership,
Okay.
especially in higher education.
Interesting.
And our guide for this deep dive is a fascinating dissertation called Nurturing the Ethical Reasoning of Leaders
Okay.
by Jeanette Della Rosa Ducut.
All right.
And she didn't just talk about like theories or anything. She
Right.
actually studied actual doctoral students in organizational leadership.
So, what you just heard, it sounded like there were real people talking to each other, but that was an entire computer generated conversation made from the AI after reading the 300-page document that I uploaded. So it read the document, then it came up with a little bit of a script on its own, and it created a media file that I could just play and listen to so I could learn the entire document without having to read it. So Notebook LM, it's actually a Google tool. You can upload a document and it will create a podcast for you to listen to, and also a way for you to ask questions. So artificial intelligence is pretty amazing at helping you present, helping you write code and solve problems like understanding content or helping others understand content. These days, the students in colleges are using tools like Notebook LM to understand new complex scientific articles that are kind of hard to read, but easier to understand once they hear it in a format that they're used to listening to. So artificial intelligence is very, very good, again, I've said earlier, at translating into different languages.
You might be familiar with something like this in Google Translate, where you write out the words on the left, and on the right-hand side, it'll translate it for you into any language that you drop down from the list. But it doesn't just do that by you typing. And so here's an example where I can select from my computer any document, whether it's PDF or a Word version or a PowerPoint. And after I drag and drop, it'll upload, and then it'll ask me, well, what language do you want me to translate it into? And if I choose, for example, Spanish or Russian or Italian, no matter what language, it'll translate it in the matter of seconds. It'll ask me, where do you want to save it? And I tell it wherever I put it. And look at what it does. It translated my entire document. That's an example. This is a real life example of it translating into Russian. And not only did it translate it, but it used the special characters of that language. And if you notice, it also kept the formatting.
So DeepL or DeepL is a pretty fascinating AI and incredibly accurate. I use it, I would say, almost, if not weekly, almost every other day to translate documents. And the reason why I like it is because I don't have to reformat words once it's translated. We've used it for handouts. We've used it for online videos and trainings that we've created, all sorts of things that we needed to convert into another language, policies, for example. And I recommend you always run it through a native speaker. But when they do see it, native speakers typically say that there's usually nothing wrong with the grammar. So DeepL is a really good example where you can upload a file and DeepL will translate it into any language while keeping the format the same. So another thing you can do, we just talked about how with AI, how it can help you present, how it can write code and solve problems for you, how it can help you translate. AI can also be your voice. It can help you narrate audio.
So what you're seeing me do here is I'm entering some text into DeepL, I'm translating it into a language. And then once I find that language, maybe it's Russian, maybe it's Turkish, I'll copy those translations, and then I'll go to something called Speechelo and I'll paste it into their prompt. And on the right side, you can see that I can choose a voice, I can choose a language, and right as soon as I choose the language and the voice, it'll give me a voiceover in that language.
Los criógenos se utilizan en diversas aplicaciones, como la conservación de muestras biológicas, la química.
Excuse me. So Speechelo is an example of many of the tools out there where you can add translated text into it and it'll take those words and it'll generate a voiceover in pretty accurate sounding accents. So if like another language is out of reach, it can easily be addressed by using AI. So AI can help you narrate, but one of the most interesting things that AI does is produce videos. You used to need special computer software, and you used to need special computers and skills to produce videos in the past.
But now I'm going to go to Steve AI, and I have the script I pre-wrote. So I'm going to just select and copy the script. And once I get those words, I'll go to Steve AI, I'll click on text to video, and I'm telling it I want an animated video. And then I just go into and paste that script that I pre-wrote. I might edit it, but when I click on next, it'll analyze my words. It'll ask me, what template do I want to use? Well, maybe I want to use this one in the middle. And it'll generate an entire animated video based on my script. It'll create scenes with people that I can go ahead and change out into another character. I can give them different clothes. I can make them do different activities. I can go ahead and give it a voiceover and music. So listen to this.
Sometimes disability checks just aren't enough. Did you know that there is a way to get back to work at full pay, even while you're healing? If your doctor prescribes modified or light duty, your supervisor work with your restrictions, and possibly provide a temporary position for you elsewhere on campus.
So creating an animated video like this used to take a very, very long time. I used to have to hire people who can draw and then people who can edit videos. It used to take weeks. But with something like Steve AI, you can see that it actually just took me maybe a matter of a couple minutes. And really, the hardest thing was to create a script that I just copied and pasted. And you can even use AI to create that script. So artificial intelligence is really, really good at creating videos. You just add a script and it'll create an animated or cinematic video based on the words in your script. But what if all you had were images and you wanted to make an animated GIF or even a video out of that image? So vidu.com lets you upload multiple images and animate them. Once uploaded, you can describe what you want to see or how you want your image animated. In this example, I've uploaded a 10-year-old photo of a laboratory worker. On the left-hand side, I gave it the simple prompt of mix the pink liquid and put it onto the counter. And here's what it generated for me. This is a new video showing the laboratory worker mixing the liquid in her hands and putting it onto a new counter in the foreground. You can select multiple images and Baidu will animate them together into one. In this example, I'm simply uploading two more photos into the system. One is a blue liquid and in a flask, and another is a laboratory table. On the left-hand side, I added a prompt that says, pour the liquid into the blue liquid in the flask, mix, and then place onto the table, and make sure to show the laboratory worker's face at all times. From that photo, it created this new video. Notice the laboratory worker is animated, now has a half body. There is another arm and glove in the scene, and she's pouring the liquid from the original photo into a flask with a blue liquid from a new photo. So again, this was a 10-year-old video that I wanted to animate, and tools like Vidu.com can help you do that when you just upload this as a graphic, describe what you want it to do, and it'll create that animation that you can eventually string into different videos. And as you saw me do, I actually inserted different objects. I introduced different things for that graphic to interact with. So it's smart enough to kind of cut things in and out of its software and create an entire scene out of just like photos. So that's where AI is advancing pretty quickly. But what if all you wanted was a simple explanation in a visual format? So check out something called Imagine Explainers, which helps you use videos to simplify and educate either yourself or others. To create a quick explainer video, just enter a prompt. In this example, I'm going to enter,
How to lower workers' compensation costs at the University of California. I click on Create Video and it begins to generate something completely from scratch.
Workers' compensation at the University of California is a comprehensive system that protects both employees and the institution. These key strategies form a comprehensive approach to workplace safety. There are 3 key cost drivers for workers' compensation at UC. First, laboratory injuries, including chemical exposure and equipment accidents.
If I or somebody else wants to learn more about the video, there's a prompt on the right where we can ask it questions. I'm asking, what are our 3 main strategies to reducing injuries? And it summarized the video for me. And if for whatever reason I'm unhappy with the video, I can click on the regenerate icon and it'll create a brand new version.
Understanding workers' compensation at the University of California. The University of California operates as a self-insured system for workers' compensation, meaning costs directly impact university budgets. Workers' compensation rates at UC are determined by several factors. Establish ergonomic assessments for office workers, focusing on proper workstation setup. Create a robust return-to-work program that helps injured employees transition back with modified duties.
Right away we see that the tool re-scripted the video. It even pulled in insider knowledge about us being self-insured. It provided annual expenditure data from our websites, focused on strategies to reduce workers' comp rates, and talked about return to work or our Work Strong program.
So AI these days takes seconds to scrape data from other websites around the world. It's certainly something you can do. You can take the time to create tables and information, but you have AIs that can do it for you as well, which you should still verify as information, but you can see that it actually does it quick enough so that you have that time to do that verification. So Imagine Explainers, all you have to do with it is enter a topic, and Imagine Explainers will create a tutorial video with graphics and text, and as you've heard, a voiceover for either yourself or others. And in my last example, I think it's funny that somebody put in the chat that the speaker looks AI generated, which I'll take as a compliment because usually AI generated images are kind of perfect. But what if you wanted to create a video of you or someone else teaching something, but you didn't have the tools to do a professional recording? There are AI tools out there that can create a talking head or an avatar. Humva, Humva, is one of those really impressive tools.
Did you know if you go to this website, you can create an avatar either by choosing one or making one of your own. You can make one of your own by dragging and dropping a photo. Once it's ready, you can either choose a voice it gives you or upload your own voice. It'll create an avatar for you based on your photo and your voice. There are a variety of backgrounds you can choose from, and it will use that photo to speak any script that you want. All you have to do is enter a script, which you can even get translated into another language using a separate AI, and you can export your video. You can even export different versions of your video.
So I'm going to share with you an example of what a tool, an AI tool like Humva can do to help either you or me speak in different languages.
In this educational session, you'll learn how cool Jeanette is.
She uses artificial intelligence to speak in different languages.
First, in Spanish. En español, Jeanette solo sabe decir malas palabras. Next, in Filipino. Sa Tagalog, mga mura lang ang alam ni Jeanette. Finally, let's talk in Vietnamese. Bang tieng Viet, Jeanette chi Viet noin hung loi tri da thoi.
That's quite interesting. And that was AI as opposed to me. With Humva, things like Humva, you can add a script and artificial intelligence will create a talking avatar for you in multiple languages. It's very interesting. So let's summarize kind of all the things that I shared that AI can help you do. You can present slides using Slides AI and Tome. AI can help you write code and solve problems using, for example, ChatGPT and actually Notebook LM. You can translate languages using DeepL, narrate audio using Speechelo, and produce videos using Steve AI, Imagine Explainers, Vaidu, and Humva. It's pretty cool, But if it's so cool, why is it such a big deal to worry about AI? Well, it might be because of issues like this, that you can create deepfakes. You can use ChatGPT to create words in your style or somebody else's. You can use Humva to create a selfie avatar that has either your look or somebody else's. And I'm going to show you an example of this right now. And while you're watching it, I'd like to know in the chat whether you think this video I'm about to show you is an AI or is it a real person? So check it out. Is this an AI or a real person?
Hola, soy Kevin Confetti, subdirector de riesgos en la oficina del presidente, Oficina de Servicios de Riesgo. Tras el entrenamiento esperamos que comprendas que no estás solo y que tu campus cuenta con recursos para apoyarte en este proceso.
So what do you think? Let's put in the chat. Who thinks it's an AI and who thinks it's a real person? Got a few actually, majority who say it's AI. One person said it's real. One person said it's AI but looks real. Couple people saying real. Most say it's AI based on weird translation. The blinking makes it look like a real person. And I think it's more real AI, people saying AI, a couple saying it's real. Well, the truth is, and the answer is that it is actually both. This is a real person who really was looking in this way towards the camera. His name is Kevin Confetti, but he doesn't speak any Spanish at all. So he's a primarily English speaking person. And what you heard was the AI take his voice from a video that was publicly posted on the internet and use a different script using his voice to speak in another language. So he didn't know he was being used to speak in another language until I showed him this video. But it even took his mouth and made it form the words in the same way. So AI, something like HeyGen, can be used and has been used for people to upload a video, and it translates things into different languages based on a script that other people write. So that is why we always talk about ethics and risks in the world of artificial intelligence. And the top ones that I like to talk about are bias, hallucinations, propaganda, cybersecurity, and deceit. I'll kind of summarize. AI is very biased, mostly because of some of the training that goes into it and the words that that are enleavened in all of our internets. It sort of creates these conversations that are sort of skewed in a different way. AI also hallucinates. So there was an example last year where a couple of lawyers got caught for looking up cases and then submitting it to the judge. And the judge looked up the cases and said, none of these cases are real. They were trying to create precedents referring to these other cases, but he said they're not real, they're bogus. And it turned out that it was because lawyers were trying to use AI to set those precedences. Because what artificial intelligence does is it scrapes the internet, just kind of like I showed you, and it basically comes up with something brand new, sort of out of nowhere, based on what it finds out there. And that new thing can be completely inaccurate, and it's called a hallucination. AI, because it's so good also in creating pretty amazing graphics, and you just saw really good videos, it can create propaganda that can go pretty negatively quickly. It shows presidents, for example, doing things that they're not, or saying things that they're not, simply because AI is really smart around image generation. It's also a cybersecurity issue. It can be used to pull somebody's voice and have them leave a voicemail on somebody else's phone, asking them to cut a check for somebody like Jeanette for whatever reason. And because it sounds like the person, people have been taking action based on some of this voice phishing. And then it is very deceitful because you can use AI to trick humans. And here's why. All AI is, a really good way to look at artificial intelligence and large language models is, all AI is it's using math to upon words. So AI assigns probability to words so that it'll give you back what you want to see next, either in words or images and videos and even music. So If people are assigning probability to words, then that can be bias, for example, that goes into the training of AI. And if those words are embellished with bias and to begin with, the junk that goes in is also the junk that goes out, then that's bias that people are going to get. And here's the example that I talked about earlier of what's called voice phishing or vishing from using something like Canva. It can be used for good reasons, like in this example.
The risk and safety training team is cool. They had the best presentation at the University of California.
So it's pretty harmless script that this person was saying using their voice. But here's a nefarious example that's more commonly used.
Hey, Gabby, I'd like to reimburse Jeanette for some supplies she purchased for our Risk Summit conference. Can you cut her a check for $50? I lost her receipt, but it's under the limit in UC policy anyway.
So that comes with a video, but more often than not, it's going to be in a form of a voicemail. But it's the same thing. It's somebody's voice that people are pretty familiar with being used to say something else, and people are taking action. So you can mitigate some of these risks by using alternatives such as the Google suite of tools. So we at the University of California are a Google campus, and our IT department has vetted Google, and they've assured us that it has really good security policies all the way down to your email. But here are some examples of tools that I shared and their equivalent. So instead of Tome or Slides AI, instead of Tome, you can use a Google Chrome extension that I did share, Slides AI. Instead of ChatGPT, there's Google Gemini. So it's built within the system of security policies within Google. Instead of Speechelo, Google has a cloud text-to-speech. Instead of Vidu, there's Google Flow Veo, and Notebook LM is pretty unique, so I would kind of stick with that. So how can we use this in the classroom? Well, there are so many uses for AI. Once you sort of get ahead of its ethics and risks, the truth is the best way to get ahead of the risks in AI is to avoid not taking risks. So in other words, being informed of AI and how it works and what is out there can help you stay ahead of those risks and help you mitigate them by just kind of putting on those safety belts, right? You probably go out and drive all the time, and we know that there's a risk that comes along with that. But when we put on our seatbelts, we're in a better position to take that risk and do things that contribute to the greater good. So by not taking risk, you're actually taking a bigger risk. By not learning about AI or using AI in these different ways that it's being used today, it's a big risk. So you are encouraged to use it, especially in the classroom. And here's how you can do it. For example, in history class, you can have the students create a presentation describing the role of the precious metals on the African-American slave trade using slides AI.io. You can use ChatGPT in biology by writing a quiz to test another group about what they know about how different blood components are used in healthcare. In an English class, you can use the translation functions of DeepL to translate Spanish versions of, for example, Jose Rizal's literary work and compare it to the English translation written by early colonialists. In economics, you can create a podcast file describing how game theory can be used in the real estate market. And in art, you can produce a video from scratch, demonstrating the role of comic strips in 19th century American politics using Steve AI. So artificial intelligence is pretty valuable in helping you flip the classroom and encourage universal design by providing many ways that you can engage with students or that we can use in education to teach, to represent information, to encourage action and expression. So there you go. Those are the 5 things you can do with AI. Artificial intelligence can help you produce slides, images. It can help you solve problems and translate and be your voice and create videos. And you can do this in a matter of minutes. You can use AI to automate your lesson planning, your content creation, and even assessing your students. Many of these tools that I just shared actually took seconds rather than minutes. So it helps us kind of augment the work that we normally do on the computer and do other things. It can help you flip the classroom. We talked about encouraging students to use AI to demonstrate the acquisition and the application of knowledge. Here is a QR code that you can use to go to my presentation. I'll also put a link in the chat. And if you download the presentation and get to the slide, you can actually click on AI tools and videos, and you can watch the playlist on YouTube of all the tools I shared in case you wanted to refresh. There's also a link to Google's recently released Prompting Guide 101 that helps you set the context for what you're asking the AI to do for you better. If you also take a look at this presentation in about 2 hours from now, you'll get to view this recording from today's presentation as well. And yeah, my name is Jeanette De La Rosa Ducat. I am at the University of California, Riverside, and I'm happy that you're with me on this journey to learn how it just takes 5 minutes to create presentations, tests, and translations and more with AI. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be able to talk with you today.